Welcome everybody to my food forest. It's just about the very end of July, and I wanted to make a video about, I guess, my overall plans for this property. This is where my house is. It's on just over half an acre of land, and I've used this as more of a wild style of permaculture. I use, I don't know, the no-mow technique, which is basically I stop mowing my grass. And then with the addition of wide pathways that are mowed, they're supposed to be handicap accessible. I want the entire property to be overall inviting, but have a definite forest feel to it. And I've luckily, even though I mostly just wanted to add to what nature would normally grow, I started planting food. And I kind of stumbled into permaculture, have read a lot about it, tried to keep in mind the ethics of it, about people, the planet, returning surplus, things like that. I've gotten into some of the plant science, the science of roots, all these other things. And I've been lucky that a lot of this property has basically grown up. It's starting to become a forest all by itself. And I looked at, what reforestation is and what afforestation is. And for my property, it's kind of hard. It's in the middle of a city. Most of Indiana was covered in forest, and really the whole world was pretty much covered in forest at some point in time. And about 200 years ago, everything was cut down and turned into a city. And the plants that are, or the trees that are here now, I'm not sure if they were here before, because I have walnuts and silver maples and mulberries primarily, and those were more than likely planted here when this area became, went from industry to residential. There's railroad tracks. There's a main state road right by me, and a lot of those trees were planted, because they're quick growing, they look good, just more for the aesthetics of it. I myself am happy that there's maple, even though there's silver maple. They don't have as high of a sugar content as a sugar maple, but I still look forward to tapping into those and boiling it down and making syrup. The walnuts, I'm happy that I have a couple walnut trees that are old enough to, capture, gather up all those walnuts, and I'm going to try and get those separated and actually eat the walnuts themselves. And along with the mulberries, I have 2 mulberry trees that are full grown, and we're eating those in the spring all the way until, really the middle of summer, beginning of summer. And it's nice that these trees, before I moved in here a couple years ago, they were pruned and they're cleaned up. So over the last couple of years, a lot of these side branches, you can see, this isn't a mulberry, but you can see that the lower portion of the tree has, branched out and had a lot more cover, I think, at eye level than what they were before. They're all cut at, just so the canopy at 10 foot was showing. And so it's got a more wild, more natural look to it. And same with the mulberries. And all these trees have, over the last couple of years, have seeded themselves. And now I have roughly 500 maple trees, probably another 30, 40 walnut trees, and about the same number of mulberry trees popping up. So it's kind of funny that I had ordered mulberry trees, dwarf mulberries, before I even knew that I had mulberries on my property. So that goes to show how little I really know about nature and plants and vegetables and all these other things. It's all very new to me. And it's been interesting seeing this property change. And I'm gonna walk around and show you a couple of these trees and show you the pathways, and kind of show how if you just leave a property by itself, it will become a forest again. Now I've had to do some maintenance and cutting of grasses and different things to make it appeal as far as the city is concerned. I've already had to appeal one mow letter, however you want to call it, but it's, they're leaving me alone so far, and aesthetically I think people are kind of getting on board as far as reforesting, or reforesting is there was a forest there, so you're replanting. Afforestation is going into an area that never had trees and adding trees. This is more, I would say, an afforestation that started back when this house was built and this area was taken over for residential. So I'm just kind of continuing that afforestation by adding my primarily food. I want fruit trees and berry bushes, and I want perennial vegetables. I have some annual beds because even whenever I drive around town and I see different trees and bushes that people are planting, or stuff that's on the side of roads, and I always wonder, why did you just put a deciduous tree there that looks cool in the spring or cool in the fall, when that could be a peach tree, it could be a pear tree, it could be whatever. So you can walk down the street, if you go walk around downtown, and instead of going into the local coffee shop where you're going to get a croissant, or go to a greasy dive and get a burger, you could just walk down and simply just grab a peach and go about your day. I think that's a lot more, it's a lot cooler to me, a lot more healthy, that's for sure, and a lot more usable. Why really plant anything that doesn't produce food? It's starting, it's becoming beyond me. I don't really understand just planting a tree just because it looks cool. Other than just the aesthetics, there's no real purpose to it. So we'll go for a little walk around, and I'll show you that some of the pathways that were sheet mulched, I'm going to be converting those into full planting spaces, and I have to mow down some of my grass to make it into new pathways. So I'll both be increasing the accessibility of my property and the areas where I can grow. Here is coming from the corner of my property, and I mowed an area here, so it's a little bit, you can sit around, it's in the shade, and this tree is filling out, but I've got the grass a little bit longer, and I'm trying to let the grass grow. I cut it at a higher setting, and I let it grow for longer than normal, probably 10, 12 days if possible. But it's wide enough. Most of these pathways are wide enough for wheelchairs or two people to walk side by side comfortably. And I think it looks really, really cool, and it's pretty defined. It's, where a pathway is. And this right here is a pawpaw. And there's another one right here. And I planted these last fall, and I thought they had died. But they have resprouted. So there's still hope for these pawpaws. They're in the worst place ever, in full sun when they're young, into what used to be gravel for years. The soil's been slowly building up. And a lot of this is long grasses, and especially this patch. There's one maple tree there, there's a lily kind of hiding there, there's a walnut tree, and there's assorted milkweed and other wild carrots, things like that. And this is a lot longer grass, and I've planted pine trees along this street here. But you can see there's access from the street in 4 different areas. There's another pathway that comes from here. And this is the first area where I'm widening the path, because all this was pathway before all the grass came up. So all this goes around, and it's all sheet mulch. Well, I've been planting in it, but I've been scared to plant too much because that's my walkway. So just like here, I need to mow this, probably mow this even wider, mow this here, and then it's gonna go around. And this is just for accessibility. Then I can add even more mulch to these areas. It was pretty thin when we laid it down. And you can see that some of the violet and other things are coming up. But I've planted certain things like hascaps and some goji berries and asparagus. But this path will loop around here just about that wide. Connect to that, and then this one will go around here and connect there. So it'll be a lot, a lot cleaner, I think. And then I won't be, dodging my asparagus when I walk through here. I can just walk to the side of it, and I can have all sorts of plantings in here. And there's one area that I'm still not sure. Like, I'm sure about cutting these two areas next to this sheet mulching, but this area I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I want to, coming from here, this is all mowed right here where my index finger is, and I do want to mow an access all along here. But if I do that, I might as well mow the whole area, and there's a walnut tree right there popping up, and there's a couple of mulberries. So I'm not really sure if I do cut all this down, all this will be mowed. Then I have my sunchokes right back there. I think that's really the only way I can do it, because I'm going to be chomping through there, grabbing mulberries off of this. And another huge difference, I was talking about letting the trees grow how they want to. From the last 2 years, just imagine all this all these low branches that are coming down, all this is all grown in the last couple of years. So before, where you couldn't get to any mulberries, now I'm able to just simply walk right here and just grab them off that branch, and that branch. And that's really cool, and that makes it so there's a drip edge onto where I want all these nutrients and stuff to accumulate on this bed where I'll be planting into. And I can also, from the path here, just reach up and grab some, because these will grow even more. They grow, well, let me show you how much, just from the green growth from this year, this branch has gone that far. So is that almost 3 foot? So 3 foot in a year. We're at the end of July right now, so, and that just makes it awesome. Now, once all this area is mowed, I might trim some of these others off. I don't know, just to make it so you can walk under it. But these larger branches, like for example this one that's popping up, this will end up kind of coming over so it's accessible. But maybe in the fall, I'll just, after all the leaves fall and everything goes back in the roots and it goes into winter hibernation, however you want to call it, I can just come through, trim this stuff down, and add it to my compost pile or use it to mulch an area. So that I think those are really, for one, it'll change the aesthetics of the area, so it'll be more obvious that it's meant to be a garden or a forest that you walk around and enjoy. And then it'll make this space more usable and accessible, and I'll be able to plant into all this. So that's one. So when I go and cut the grass, I might cut the grass tomorrow. I'm going to cut all of this. Now the only interesting area here is I planted a black cherry right here. You can see it. I planted a black cherry here, and one over there, one there, and then one over here. But I don't want to cut down these, and I don't want to cut down that. So the path, there's a maple there that might end up getting cut down. Yeah, right here, just to the left of the flag, doesn't matter. But I'm going to cut, yeah, it'll swoop around, but it's going to clear this, so it's just going to mow here, and it'll swoop around. And then this area I'm just going to have to leave, because it has so many maple trees. I really just don't want to. We'll have to figure out some other solution for this area. There's just so many maple trees that are popped up here that really don't want to. I mean, if this has to remain a pathway, that's fine. Still, the access for this might actually come from there. I might mow in and then come around here. But then again, I have another black cherry bush that's growing there, and a couple maples, and all sorts of stuff. So I'll keep that in the back of my head, and maybe after I open up some of these other areas, it'll change, kind of changes some of the plans I got going. And I just wanted to show how this property has changed and grown up by itself. A lot of this is still grass, but you can see that there's plenty of violets popping up, and there's other plants that I'm not even sure, these taller ones. I still have some tall grass, like right in front of me. And I might just go through and just rip those up, but you can tell that there's a few other plants that are just popping up. And this brings to mind another idea. This is such a big area. I've kind of purposely walked through here a few times and marked different trees. So this might end up being a mowed thing. I'm not sure. I'm trying to let the land evolve the way it wants to, and make minor changes just to make it more accessible and more appealing, I guess. Because it'd be really nice if I could actually host different tours where people can learn about these plants and these trees and learn about permaculture, growing your own food and all that. And a big part of that is to make it as accessible to people as possible. I think that's all I've got for today. I'm going to get this. For one, I wanted to talk about this stuff, but I wanted to get another video uploaded. So I'm going to go clean this up as much as I can. Hope that the audio came through. And then I'll get it posted. Alright, thank you for watching.